Hello again. As I said yesterday, YouTube suspended my account for 2 weeks the other day on the grounds that I was guilty of hate speech, and then changed their mind after I strenuously appealed against this idea. Why should musing out loud about what it is which makes somebody British be seen as tantamount to racism, I'm wondering. The answer is that it is now taken as given that anybody born in Britain or granted a British passport must be regarded as being as British as somebody whose family have lived in the country for centuries. Suggesting that somebody is not really British because of their parentage is viewed as outright racism. This is an interesting perspective, and I thought it might be amusing to explore the idea a little. Let us grant the initial premise then and see where it leads us. In the video which caused YouTube to suspend me, I mentioned that the people who live next door to me are Bulgarians who have 2 children who were born in Britain and are therefore technically as British as anybody else. I said that they spoke Bulgarian at home, they have only Bulgarian relatives and family friends visiting the home, and they take their children to Bulgaria over the summer. Very well, let's concede that the older child, who is 6, is genuinely and indisputably British. I've mentioned before the fact that Vivien Leigh, the actress who played Scarlett O'Hara in Gone with the Wind and can be seen in the thumbnail to this video, was born in India to British parents, and that she spent the first 6 years of her life in that country. This is precisely similar to my neighbour's daughter. If the little girl next door is really British, then I suppose that Vivien Leigh was really Indian. To suggest anything else surely would be racist. Vivien Leigh is every bit as Indian as any Bollywood actress. Would it be offensive to hint that this is not really so? Unless we are to assume that there are 2 sets of rules in this matter, one for foreigners who come to live in Britain and one for British people who go to live in foreign countries, then I think that we must admit that Vivien Leigh was as Indian as Gandhi. Still thinking of India, I'm a great fan of the novelist Vikram Seth, whose masterpiece, A Suitable Boy, was recently made into a television series. Many people regard it as the greatest Indian novel of the 20th century. But wait, Rudyard Kipling's novel Kim was also published in the 20th century. This novel too is set in India. Kipling was born in India. He lived there until the age of 5, left for a few years, and then returned to live and work in the country as an adult. Should we therefore regard Kim as being a great Indian novel? What about Vanity Fair? After all, Thackeray was born in India as well. Was he Indian or British? The problem is that if once we concede that anybody born in Britain is automatically British, we soon find ourselves in a bit of a pickle. Richard Dawkins was born in the Kenyan capital Nairobi, where he lived and went to school until the age of 8. Can it really be the case that he is as African as Nelson Mandela? It's clear that once we start allowing as a general principle that a person's ethnicity, nationality or family's origins may be disregarded, and that it is enough to be born in this or that country in order to be regarded as being a citizen of the nation, that we soon fall into error. At risk of pointing out what is quite obvious, Vivien Leigh was not really Indian at all. Neither was Rudyard Kipling, any more than Richard Dawkins is an African. I hope that this brief look at the idea will not be taken as hate speech by YouTube. I'm a great fan of Kipling's poetry, and in asserting that he was really English rather than Indian, despite his being born in that country, I don't mean to disparage him in any way. I think this is one of those cases where common sense has rather flown out of the window. I've gone into this at some length because it is now universally claimed by black people to be a microaggression to be asked where they are really from. I give a link in the description to this video to a piece written by a member of the Liberal Party on this subject, in which she says, when people interrogate you on your heritage, the implicit message is that you don't belong, you're not British, you'll always be an outsider. Probing my background leaves me and many like me feeling like an other in a country we were born and raised in. Yes, just as Vivian Lee was probably made to feel like an other by Indians.